I'm Tony Beshara, and I'm going to help you do better at finding a job.
He is listed by Fordyce Magazine as the #1 headhunting career placement guy in the country. The #1 guy. His name's Tony Beshara.
Well, Scott, thanks for coming by. What are you currently doing? Novello?
Novo One is
One,
an assurance brokerage that handles a lot of other accounts too. But basically, I do inbound and outbound insurance brokering for anywhere from Progressive to Prudential, so on and so forth.
Okay. You
Not
sell
all the time.
insurance, or?
I manage unlicensed agents. I oversee some licensed agents, anywhere from, I would say, 12 to 18.
All right. Why would you consider leaving that?
I would consider anything that would be more advantageous to me in my situation.
All right.
I'm not married to it.
Okay. All right. What do you like about it?
I like a lot of the contact that I have with the public. I also like being able to mentor and help produce other producers that are going to be successful too. A lot of what I like about my position is this. I have a direct effect with my employees and my subordinates, and that's very rewarding in its own self.
Okay.
You can match rewards in dollars and cents, and at the end of the day, that's very important. But when you can make a difference and improve someone's life, that's a reward in itself.
Okay. How do you envision you improve somebody's life?
Well, when I take someone who's making a very little bit of money or doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in their future, and I'm able to produce that confidence with them and able to make themselves a better person, ultimately it's a win-win situation.
Okay, very good. What are you earning doing this?
About $42,000 a year.
Okay. Is it mostly
Very
commission?
modest. Yeah, well, it's a little bit of both. It's very modest.
What's your base?
My base is 36.
Okay. All right. Very good. Why'd you go to work with these guys?
I have a friend who runs the department there, and he brought me in as a recruit, so to speak, and we get along really well. We both have the same ideals and theologies. It's a little bit of a step back, but in today's challenging economy, I got a lot forward to go to.
Okay, very good. Now, SDS Mansfield, what did they do?
That was my own personal agency that I built.
Okay. You were there 7 years?
Actually, more like 6 and a half, 7 years.
So you got out, you were self-employed?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. I'm licensed in 24 different states, so I can pretty much hang my shingle anywhere.
What were you earning doing that?
About 107,000.
Oh, a year.
Ouch, huh?
Yeah, well, you do what you got to do.
Right.
What kinds of things have you been looking at in your interview?
Just about anything that I think would be challenging and would be able to make a difference at.
Okay.
I coach and volunteer probably 45 to 50 hours a month. I don't get paid for it. I like to make a difference.
How long you been looking?
I would say probably about 6 to 7 months.
6 to 7 months. How have you
That
been getting
much.
most of your interviews?
Internet,
Oh.
job boards, that kind of thing.
So you haven't called any other insurance organizations?
No, not yet.
Any reason? You just don't want to stay in
Time.
the insurance business?
Time.
Okay. Are you good at what you do?
Very good.
How do you prove that?
That's a tough answer. I just do.
Okay, you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
All right. So then you got to be able to prove that to somebody.
Correct. Right.
I've been the #1 guy doing this and this and this and this.
Right.
You're probably worth more than 42,000. Obviously, even if you're owning your own business, making 100 or better is a reasonable thing to do. But then again, it's a quality of life kind of thing. And
Right.
I will say this, that sticking your toe in the water to kind of see if something comes along
Right.
is going to be really hard to do.
Thank you. I appreciate
Well,
it.
and the reason is your competition will eat your lunch.
Right, and I
Because they
appreciate
come in
you,
and they're
Ken.
going to say,
Right.
look, damn it, I need this job, and here's why you ought to hire me. Doggone it, I'm the best you can hire. And then you're going in going, well, if a better deal comes along, I'm not that unhappy with where I am. I
Right.
like what I do. I'm able to do the coaching, and I'm able to have a quality of life. So, there it is. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Well, to an extent, I'm not going to discount what you're saying. I agree wholeheartedly to an extent. When I would hire a salesperson, I would be very, very, very careful as to how aggressive and how desperate they were, because nothing's worse than a desperate salesperson.
Yes. Now
It's very unproductive.
there's a difference between being desperate and being intense.
Being intense, thank you very
Michael
much.
Jordan could be ahead by 40 points, but he was still intense,
He was
right?
still
Okay.
intense, that's
LeBron
right.
James, he's intense. Dirk Nowitzki, he's intense. Doesn't matter whether they're winning or they're losing,
That's
they're
right.
intense. So there is a fine line, and there is a difference between going in and saying I desperately need a job,
Right.
and going in and look, I'd like to better my family, I'd like to better my situation, and and that kind of thing.
Right.
The blunt truth is you're not that unhappy where you are.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not an unhappy person in general.
Well, that's good. Well, the only thing I could advise is that if you ever got to the point where you really felt like you needed to actually change jobs and push it a little harder, you'd surely be able to do it. You've got the capability of doing it.
I appreciate that.
If the motivation isn't there and you're fairly reasonably happy with what you're doing, then stick with it.
Okay, there you go.
There is a possibility things sometimes do come along, but you got to be a lot more active and a lot more aggressive about it than you are if you really want to hit.
Right, sure.
It's really interesting to get somebody like Scott here, and I'm really glad we did. Scott's one of those kind of people that just really isn't looking for a job all that badly. There might be a lot of reasons that he's not saying as to why. Fear of rejection, fear of failure. Maybe it's just too easy for him to be doing what he's doing. On the one hand, he's saying, I can really do better for myself and my family. And yet, on the other hand, he's saying, I really don't want to work for it that badly. I really don't want to work that hard. I have a lot of empathy and understanding for that. What's interesting about Scott is he's really not complaining all that much about the job that he's in. Scott's going to have a real hard time finding a job if he wants to change. I don't think he wants to change all that badly, but if he does, he's going to get a rude awakening because the people that really need a job are going to kick his butt. I'm sure glad we had somebody like him to come in and interview with us, because it shows there are a lot of people out there looking for a job that don't want to change all that badly and just aren't going to be that aggressive about it.